Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and I'm here today to do a reading about the Pisces new moon, which is taking place at 04 degrees and 28 minutes today. New moon means that the sun and the moon are together. They're conjunct. It means that they're right on top of each other. So both the sun and the moon are in the same spot of 04 degrees and 28 minutes. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown before I do this reading, this collective reading of the astrology that's taking place as well. So I'm going to go through all the different positions of the planets and then give you a quick kind of insight as to what is actually happening astrologically. And also I will just say that there is a free link in the description box down below for anybody who wants to go and check out their own planets or wants to check out what the planets are doing at this time relating to their planets as well. If you don't know where your houses are and which planets are in which house, which will make a difference as well. And also if you don't know your sun, moon, Venus rising placements, houses, in relation to each other, it's always worth going and having a look and maybe seeing a bigger picture of what's happening astrologically for you. So in saying that, I will give you a quick rundown of where these planets are at this moment. So we have Mercury, 09 degrees and 24 minutes, and that is retrograde at this moment in time in Pisces. So it's right next to the sun and moon as well, as it's moving closer to the sun and moon. It's moving backwards. Neptune is at 17 degrees and 52 minutes, or more or less 18 degrees, also in Pisces. So we've got four planets in the sign of Pisces, a water sign. And then we have Mars at 04 degrees and 56 minutes, or 5 degrees in Capricorn. Jupiter is at 18 degrees 20 minutes in Capricorn. Pluto's at 24 degrees and 5 minutes in Capricorn. Saturn is at 27 degrees and 31 minutes in Capricorn. Then you've got Uranus at 03 degrees 27 in Taurus. Chiron is at 03 degrees and 36 minutes in Aries. So quickly we go back with the Capricorn, or the Earth energy. There is 5 planets in Earth. So we've got 4 planets in water, 5 planets in Earth, and then we've got Chiron and Venus. Venus is at 18 degrees and 17 minutes, and she's also in Aries at this present time. So we've got 2 fire, 5 earth and 4 water. So we have no air at all at this moment in time. There is no air. And interestingly, also what's happening at this moment in time is the astrological picture. Last time I spoke about it and I said because it was the full moon in Leo. So when I did the Leo reading, I was saying how everything was kind of in a bucket shape, where it was like everything was on one side of the zodiac, but you had the full moon at the top in Leo, so to speak, like a handle of this bucket. But this time we've got like a cradle of energy. So all the planets going from, you've also got the south node in Capricorn as well, going right round to Cancer where the north node is. All the planets are situated in that half of the zodiac at this moment in time. There is nothing above. It's all kind of down here in this kind of cradle pattern, if you like. And another interesting thing to do with that as well is that there is nothing in Aquarius and there is nothing in Gemini. So we have no air at all at this moment in time, which is quite symbolic, I think, as well, with Mercury going retrograde, which is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo, but is definitely kind of related to Gemini in the sense of the kind of thinking mind, the logical way that we work things out. Retrograde in Pisces at this moment in time is kind of saying that it's like the logical brain is switching off, it's going offline. There's no air, there's no logic, there's no thinking being being activated at this moment in time as such. So the sun and moon represent the masculine and the feminine energies, and they're coming together, like I said. And they're kind of, when that happens with a new moon, it's kind of like they're deciding what is next, what's new, what are we going to do, where are we going, how are we going to do it. And it's all about moving forward. New moons, new energy, moving forward. So the Mercury and Sun and the Moon are also conjunct, although it's a wide conjunction, it is conjunct. And Mercury retrograde is going to be moving towards the Sun over the next few days. As the Moon will move over the Sun and carry on its journey, Mercury will move back towards the Sun. So there will be kind of a lot of connection between the Sun and Mercury, a lot of kind of communication happening between the Sun and Mercury in Pisces though. So I feel on some level it's all very internal, it's all very kind of, there's not a lot of external communication as such at the moment. It's all very in the head and kind of within. It's like it's all being kept within, almost like it's being repressed in a way, that we can't kind of express what we really want to be expressing at this moment in time. And so, yeah, with the conjunction to the new moon, Mercury is making us think and communicate to ourselves on a deeper level, more intuitive, more to do with the feelings, the subconscious, and also dream world as well. It could also be coming out within our dreams as well. And the moon, of course, is all about our emotions, our feelings. It also does relate to our intuition as well. So it's all going to be really heightened, and a kind of sense of psychic ability as well for any those of you out there who have got that kind of sense, feeling, knowing of things. You'll probably find that that is going to also be a lot stronger over this kind of new moon period, which lasts for 2 weeks, by the way, up until the full moon. So the sun and the moon are also sextile Mars, which has recently moved into Capricorn. It's at 4 degrees in Capricorn now. And so there's a sextile energy there, and a sextile is kind of a supportive energy. So Mars is kind of supporting this new moon, which is helping to give it kind of dynamic, kind of fiery, passionate, driving forward kind of energy. It's like they want to go, they want to kind of, you know, it's almost like revving at the start line, shall we say. Like the moon and the sun are both kind of getting ready to shift into gear. And Mars is saying, like, you know, now you know where you're going, you know what you're doing, you know how to do it, you know what to do next. And it's also an understanding of where that next will be as well, which up to now could have been quite confusing for some of us as well, that we don't really know what's coming next in our lives. Where do we want to go next? How are we going to get there? But things are shifting and things are moving, especially after this kind of conjunction between Saturn and Pluto that happened in January. We're all kind of still feeling the effects from that as well, because that in itself hasn't finished yet. But this is not an energy of holding back. This is not an energy that's going to stop us from kind of revving up and getting ready to get into that kind of overdrive, if you like. So the 4 planets in Capricorn, Mars, Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn, are all working with the 4 planets in Pisces. The Moon, Sun, Mercury and Neptune. And the 4 planets in Capricorn are also sextile the planets in Pisces. So that's, again, another supportive energy as well. It's a very supportive energy for the kind of bigger picture, if you like, the kind of Neptunian kind of new idea, new creative venture, new way of looking at things. But again, it's also very kind of deeper, and I feel on some level it's quite a kind of psychic clearing out, healing process that's taking place. A kind of spiritual awakening, if you like. And so the energy of Saturn, or the earth energies of Saturn, Pluto, Mars and Jupiter all together is kind of helping to build that Neptunian dream that we've had kind of in the background for a while now, kind of since December and January. Particularly it was kind of highlighted during the solar eclipse that happened on the 26th of December. And Mars is now kind of reactivating that spot, because that is the spot that solar eclipse happened on, when the Sun was on the 0-4 point where Mars is now. So Mars is now coming over that point, and it's a reactivating energy. So Mars is kind of firing it up and getting that kind of passion and kind of dynamic power to bring it all together. Kind of reawakening it, really, kind of reawakening something that was kind of awoken back in that time of December, but because of all the rest of the astrology that was happening back there, we had squares that were stopping us from moving forwards with Jupiter and Neptune as well. So that was kind of a halt. That was kind of, don't do that yet. So now, with Jupiter and Neptune kind of sextiling, which they have been doing for a while, and I did also mention that back in the full moon Leo video, the energies are kind of shifting us forward there as well. So Jupiter is kind of helping to bring that into being, kind of expanding that energy. And kind of showing us a bigger picture as well, showing us a picture. And I feel in some way that the Pisces new moon is kind of giving us a gift as well, somehow. It's kind of, if we can let go of the past, really, which is what this is also about, if we can let go of how we think something should be, or how we thought it was going to be, how we wanted it to be or still want it to be. There's a kind of energy here with Pisces, because Pisces is all about surrendering, letting go, releasing. It's 12th house energy. And so when it gets to the 12th house, it's kind of, we've got to a completion stage, because the next house on is the beginning point again. It's Aries, it's the first house. It's a new beginning. So the kind of Piscean energy is saying let go, surrender it, and kind of let go of how you thought or how you wanted something to be. And maybe because Mercury's retrograde as well, something will end up coming back, but maybe not in the way that we expected it, because usually, or quite often, Mercury can, in retrograde, denote that something is returning from the past as well. And so Sun and Moon, Pisces, Sun and Moon is also sextile to Uranus as well, on the opposite side. So you've got them sextiling over to the Earth energy of Capricorn, but on the other side we also have Uranus in Taurus as well. So it's sextiling both ways, the Sun and the Moon. This new moon at the moment in time is sextiling both sides. And so Uranus, of course, is that planet of kind of unexpected, fast-moving change. Things that happen out of the blue, the unexpected, the higher mind as well. And also kind of, it can be to do with kind of sudden realizations, fast thoughts, if you like, eureka type moments where you suddenly have these breakthroughs about something as well. And so the energy of Uranus sextiling to this new moon is kind of saying that we are ready. We are ready for this energy. It's almost like we've been waiting for something to change. We've been waiting, and kind of this new moon and this sextile is going to bring that change about. And Uranus is also trining across to the Mars energy as well, because we have Uranus in Taurus, earth sign, Mars in Capricorn, earth sign. That gives us a trine between the two earth energies here. And its exact trine is a few days before the new moon, so it will have been a few days previous to this, which is what, Sunday, probably around about Friday. And Mars is helping us to move forward with that idea of whatever Uranus kind of brings up for us or brings in for us. Mars is kind of saying it's okay to grab this and kind of run with it, if you like. The choices that have occurred are able to be viewed and understood on a new level and a new perspective, which is also very kind of Piscean energy as well, kind of seeing things from a different perspective due to the fact that we can let go and surrender. And if we let go and surrender our kind of ideas and views of how something should be, something else is allowed to come in. So that's kind of what this energy for me is about. Jupiter is also making a sextile, so there's a lot of sextile energy around at this new moon, which is very good, because sextile energy is all about supporting. It's all about carrying the energy rather than blocking the energy or opposing the energy. This is all about easy kind of movement, supportive energy, and trines as well are very kind of easy flowing energies. So it says the Jupiter over to Neptune, which I kind of spoke a little bit about earlier, basically is about building and committing to and making that dream, that bigger dream, and our desire that is now ready in place come alive, because we're kind of becoming aware that this is more the divine timing, if you like. Jupiter is all kind of about expansion and kind of growing something. It's in Capricorn, so it's definitely about kind of foundations and movement of growth and kind of making something established and stable and really kind of putting its mark on something. But at the same time, because it's sextile to Neptune, which is in Pisces, Pisces is a kind of higher spiritual energy. If you think of the zodiac sign, kind of Aries being kind of the birth sign, the sort of baby, if you like, and then the rest of it is all about the journey through life. And we get to Pisces, and Pisces is kind of the ending. It's kind of the ending, the transformation, the change, which can actually kind of be a death as well, because in order to kind of evolve and move on, when we move into Aries, we have to leave that kind of old life behind in a way. It's almost like kind of letting go of all that baggage that we've been carrying for the last 12 months, because the sun's gone round the zodiac more or less fully, and is kind of telling us now it's time to release what we don't want to take forward with us. So we also have one square, which is Jupiter squaring Venus, and that square is not a bad square, in the sense that Jupiter is a very, very beneficial planet, and Venus is also a very beneficial planet. So you've got two kind of beneficial planets squaring up to each other. So both of them are kind of trying to support each other rather than actually kind of challenge each other, which is quite interesting. So they both kind of want to really kind of just help each other out. And Venus being in Aries is very kind of independent. Venus wants to be independent. She was strong in Aries. She kind of knows herself. She knows what she wants. She has her own ideas and her own desires, her own drive. And Jupiter is adding to that by giving her a sense of expansion of these feelings and these desires, and kind of saying to her, go on, go get it. Whatever it is that you want, go and get it. I will kind of give you that extra boost, if you like. And lastly, we have, of course, Pluto at 24 degrees, which is still conjunct Saturn. And they will remain conjunct throughout February. And then Saturn will enter Aquarius in March, which again will change the energies, but it won't stay there fully. It will return back into Capricorn again when it goes retrograde, and then it will once again move forward later in the year. So that's where I'm going to leave this reading, this astrology part of the reading, and just say that for me it's really about kind of letting go, releasing our past kind of baggage, if you like, pain and things that have kind of stuck to us, and we need to kind of surrender that and move forward. So I'm going to actually read from the Moonology book here. I kind of picked this particularly because it is new moon in Pisces, and I thought it would give you a kind of overview as well. And it says meditate and contemplate, which is a very good energy of Pisces. Meditation and contemplation, kind of connecting with the bigger energy of the universe, the divine energy, the energy of all that is. I might have to take my glasses off to be able to read this, so I'll just put them down there. Okay. This card speaks of dreams and romance, of soulmates and poetry. It suggests there's a new start coming your way that's connected to a matter that leaves you feeling somewhere between having your head in the clouds and being in a totally altered state. There could be confusion and disappointment if that's what you've had before, that's what you're expecting. So that's kind of why we need to release that and surrender and let it go, so that we don't kind of bring that energy with us. However, if you're onto a good thing, then wish hard, because the words of your soul and your heart could help bring about manifestations of your dreams. If all that sounds a little wet and watery, then that's Pisces for you. This is the last sign of the zodiac, and the new moon in Pisces card can suggest a last-ditch chance to make your dreams come true. So attune to the moon. Use your feelings to guide your way. Logic won't work right now, which I think is really, like I was saying, interesting, because there is no air at this time with this new moon. It is all about fire, water and earth, kind of passion, physical reality, and kind of spiritual, nebulous kind of realm as well, kind of creative energies. Additional meanings for this card are: face your fears, they may be holding you back. This situation is being healed. It's time to surrender to the divine. Chant Om Namo Narayani. Avoid being deceptive or willingly deceived. And the teaching of the Pisces new moon is the sign of reveries and mysteries or depths of emotion, idealism and hopeless romantics. It is the sign of water and the unconscious. Its energy is deep, like watery depths. The new moon in Pisces indicates a time to listen to your feelings and to allow your emotions free rein. Whatever you're feeling as you pull this card is more likely than the truth, unless you've been kidding yourself somehow. And only you know if that's the case or not. I'll read that last bit again. Whatever you're feeling as you pull this card is more likely than the truth, unless you've been kidding yourself somehow, and only you know if that's the case or not. So that is kind of the energies around this new moon, and I'm going to dive into this collective reading here with this card, the Messenger of Fire. Now the Messenger of Fire, for me, I kind of see this as a very lukewarm energy. I see it as somebody who's kind of not really connected to their, because it's in reverse as well, to their passions or their desires or their own understanding of what it is that they want as well. Because the Messenger of Fire usually depicts somebody who's very kind of creative, very drawn to lots of experiences, somebody who likes to maybe overindulge as well, somebody who's very fiery, very passionate, very kind of a bit of a player as well. They have that energy about them because they want to experience as much as they can of anything and everything that they can. They can have quite addictive personalities as well. The fire energies will be Sagittarius, Leo and Aries. Very quick off the mark, very, how can you put it, very, they can be very cutting, very, they can be very, quick to anger. Quick to, and maybe this is what this card is saying as well, there's a warning here to be kind of careful with your energy at the moment, careful with your feelings, your emotions, because I feel that this card kind of is cut off from that energy. The Messenger of Wands, he kind of is more action orientated, in the sense of we'll do it now and then we'll think about the consequences after, if we think about the consequences at all. And it's come out with the Queen of Air, which is interesting because there is no air, so this is kind of our challenge, if you like. This is our challenge of finding our logical sense and not kind of just being driven by our passions that maybe aren't very what's the word, I want to say logical, but I don't really think that that's the word that I'm looking for. They're passions that aren't really kind of tempered at this moment in time, maybe. So this Queen of Air has a sense of wisdom with this bird, this owl who sits on her shoulder. And the owl kind of represents wisdom. It's also always Athene's bird as well, the owl, of justice and logic and kind of all that mental kind of realm of energy, strategy. There can also be a sense of that with this Queen as well. Needing to think things through, and I think at the moment we're going to have trouble with that because, like I said, we have no air at all, and I don't think we're going to have much air until Saturn moves into Aquarius. The moon will move through Gemini and Libra, but it doesn't really stay there long enough for us to kind of really feel the benefits of it for that long. So I think what this is saying is that we need to kind of be aware that our logical thinking world, if you like, is at this moment in time being kind of driven by our passionate desires. And it came out with a whole stack of cards here as well, which I'm going to read kind of all together. And so we've got the Five of Pentacles, which is about us leaving things behind, things that may still be very dear to us, but I feel that this is a kind of healing process as well, of us having to let go of things, even though we are still attached to it, maybe even though we still kind of hope that something's going to happen, something's going to change, something's going to bring forward some new revelation in a way. Five of Pentacles in this card is about this person here having to walk away, having to leave this, because this is kind of stopping them from being the person that they really could be, in the sense of they need to go out into the world and experience things. And it's only by kind of moving away from something that is keeping us in a certain way of thinking or being or responding or reacting. This is all the physical realm. And we are very kind of physical, reactive people, the human race in general. We do tend to have this kind of energy of reacting from our passions, from what we kind of hold dear or what we feel very strongly about. So the Five of Pentacles, the Lovers, which is kind of, well, it's also in reverse. So I would say that this is also about desire. This is the kind of Venus in Aries energy, if you like, of that desire and that passion. And this could also be kind of the Venus in Aries energy here as well. Venus isn't playing ball at the moment, let's put it like that. Venus is not really being very Venusian in some ways. She's kind of very fiery, she's very kind of, like I was saying earlier, she's very independent, she's very strong. She has this sense to me of kind of not wanting to be controlled at this moment in time. And there may be a sense of this as well. People are feeling that even in their relationships, they're kind of having miscommunication with people. Things aren't necessarily going the way that people planned or hoped for. There's a sense of walking away from a lot of this energy. That people can't deal with it at this moment in time is what I'm kind of feeling. That at this moment in time, there's a need here to kind of walk away from things rather than react to them. Walk away, particularly if it comes to people that you're close to, lovers, friends, family. Don't allow it to don't allow it to upset you. Don't allow it to cause you to react too quickly. And because we have no air and no logical thinking, we're kind of very, I feel very reactive at this moment in time. So we have Venus and Chiron are both in Aries at the moment. So there could be a lot of people feeling past wounds as well. There could be a lot of people who are easily fired up because of triggers. Just triggers, things that are going to be triggering people that they don't necessarily understand why or where those triggers are coming from. But because we don't have this logical, communicative kind of energy, there's going to be a lot of kind of keeping things to ourselves. Although we have this 7 again, it's in reverse, so it's kind of saying that this energy, there's going to be a lot of this around, a lot of kind of feeling, maybe even feeling as though we're being like attacked on some level. And when I say attacked, I mean kind of oversensitive, that we're kind of oversensitive to things at the moment. So somebody can say something and it's not really what they mean or how you pick it up, which could also have something to do with this owl as well, the kind of the way that you pick things up. And I don't know why I'm saying that, but this owl kind of came into my head at that time. So I kind of feel that, you know, owls are very sensory birds. They kind of fly in the dark. They have wonderful night vision and eyesight, and kind of very kind of extra sensory perception, really incredible ESP. And I kind of feel that that ESP, which is heightened at the moment for all of us, could also cause lots of angst, lots of sensitivity, lots of people kind of feeling as though they're having to defend themselves, standing up for who they are, what they believe, why they believe it. And just a general sense of people being kind of, yeah, I just feel very sensitive, oversensitive, because it's in reverse. Normally if it was up this way, it would be about kind of standing up for your rights and your beliefs, but I feel this is more about you kind of standing up for things that you may not even have to really stand up for. And maybe also putting the focus on other people rather than looking at yourself. There could also be elements of that here as well. Pulling back, not pulling back the energy to kind of see your part in something. Maybe a lot of blame on people as well at this moment in time with this new moon. Because I also get this card here, the Five of Cups, which is all about running out on something. So this new moon could trigger a lot of emotion within people that is going to cause maybe a lot of breakups as well, or a lot of arguments, a lot of disagreements, a lot of people kind of feeling that they're having to, like I said, stand up for the kind of things that are triggering them. And everybody's kind of trying to deal with their own shit, if you like, their own feelings, their own emotions, their own pain, their own wounds. This Pisces kind of new moon energy, I feel, is going to be triggering that kind of energy as well. Ultimately, I feel it's kind of asking us to let that go and release it. But if we're not aware of it in the first place, we can't really release it. So I think that this is also what this energy is about here, is this kind of yeah, to do with this Lovers card as well, to do with like kind of people that have, it's in reverse. So again, it could be to do with situations that we have been in with people that we've loved in the past that have not worked out the way that we want them to work out. There's been need to walk away from things here, and now we're kind of in this place of kind of really, because this is a 5 as well, we've got 5 and this is a 5 here too, and 5 is all about change. So until things are triggered within us, until we realise that the energy is there, we really can't do anything with it. So we have to kind of be aware of it and what's in our head and what we have above us. Again, is this 7 of Wands energy. And again, it's in reverse. And so again, I do kind of feel that there could be this oversensitivity. And this could also be the Mars energy as well that's triggering a desire within us. So So this is also what's in our head, as I was saying. It's the same energy, different card, has a different meaning on some level as well because of the actual picture that is involved. For me, this is kind of saying that upside down, we're not able to kind of ride this energy, if you like. We can't, like, here I always get the sense of kind of similar to standing your ground and kind of being who you are, but also the sense of, like, you know, he's got this beautiful saddle on his back as well, so you could quite easily jump on this unicorn and ride off into the distance, if you like. You don't have to stand your ground. You don't have to kind of... He's kind of also getting ready to leap, for me, leaping away from something. But because it's in reverse, I get the feeling that this is something to do with not being able to ride that energy. Not being able to... Also, maybe it's a very, you know, deep, so deeply kind of things being triggered within us. Got these kind of little far glowing things here. Could also be these trigger points. Because he's also kind of rearing up as well. Startled, maybe. The feeling of kind of something that's shocked or has startled, that has kind of pause, like caused him to kind of stop in his tracks and pause and kind of yes, stay where he is. But it's come out with this 5 of Wands here. And so with this 7 as well, of this kind of battling people, if you like, that you know, the oversensitivity and the kind of the not really needing to go into this battle with these people, whoever they are, family, friends, relationship, could even be strangers, just kind of, you know, sensitive to energies at the moment. With this 5 here as well, another 5, this is saying to me that there is also, like, you know, this is the inner battle. This dragon is the inner battle with ourselves, which is taking place as we kind of become triggered. And these experiences, shall we say, are coming kind of more into our conscious awareness of our deep wounds in the past and the things that we need to let go and surrender to. As we become triggered, we're having to look within and see where this kind of, the dragon for me always represents that kind of battling with our own beast, our own kind of fears, doubts, worries, not good enough, not but today it's also representing to me a wound somehow, like the wounded dragon, the beast itself has to be kind of deeply wounded in order to slay the dragon. It's like a bit like George and the dragon that's coming out today rather than Jason. And the Golden Fleece story, I'm kind of getting a feeling more of the symbolic energy of George and the dragon, the slaying of the dragon, which was kind of the dragon representing the earth energies, and George kind of representing the kind of Like this would be seen as more the kind of the pagan, instinctual energies on some level as well, the kind of pagan connection to earth and the awareness, but symbolically George represented kind of the Christian church, if you like, and this kind of represented literally the earth dragon, the energies of the earth, the subduing. Maybe there's also a lot of that to do with this card here as well, this moment that we're subduing a lot of our own pain, oppressing maybe also as well, but I feel more like, you know, kind of keeping things down, kind of not wanting to battle with this, not wanting to go there, not wanting to face our fears or our doubts or our lack of belief in ourselves. Maybe that's also what this card is saying, this pausing energy here as well, before like you go in for the kill, so to speak. This kind of energy of having to kind of draw back and reevaluate. Which is triggered by this oversensitivity to other people. But it's only through other people's sensitivities and our own sensitivities that we're actually kind of seeing on the surface what it is that is kind of down below in the depths, coming up, if you like. That's kind of how I'm seeing this today. But we're still not wanting to kind of look at it or battle with it. And what we have below, what is in our subconscious at the moment, is another 5. It's a lot of 5s. 5 of earth, again. That's already come out once. 5 of Pentacles here. This kind of energy of walking away from something. Leaving something behind. And in this card it's more about a kind of camouflage. And also I see this light as well. It's kind of this kind of represents for me today the kind of truth and the clarity of who we are, our kind of spirit, our soul, if you like, the purity of who we actually are individually. Each one of us has this kind of spirit, higher self, higher energy, if you like, and I feel this is kind of it, but there's been a sense of kind of turning our back away from this and kind of becoming very grounded in the physical realm. And everything has been kind of about the physical realm. Almost to the point where we have kind of become very solid in our thoughts as well. We've kind of become very kind of, I'm getting kind of a feeling of things being, yeah, like the moss growing over, and kind of, you know, we've kind of closed off a lot of our abilities, closed off to a lot of our extra perception. And maybe that's also what this card is about here as well. Is this this fear of going within here, but it's almost like we're having to. It's almost like we're beginning to realize that this is something that we have to kind of, it feels like a bit like kind of trying to move through almost like drying concrete, like things have become so set in stone for us. We have become so kind of fixed on how we believe things are, and there's no kind of what's the word I'm looking for, you know, it's kind of, we talk to people and they're not on our wavelength, so we can't have those deep meaningful conversations with them, so we kind of tend to turn away and we kind of become insular. I think that's what this card is kind of about here, is this kind of insular energy that we've all kind of created for ourselves in some way, and this need to kind of break free from it. That whereas once there was a kind of comfort with this, there no longer is. It's like it's becoming uncomfortable, rigid, too kind of tight and restricting, and kind of a need to like almost allow this new growth as well. Feeling that it's kind of very yeah, this new growth needs to take place. This new growth needs to happen. Like an evolving energy. And it's coming out with the 10 of Cups, which for me today is kind of saying that how we thought things should be with this kind of card here is not necessarily how they are. This is kind of usually upright. This is a card of everything being how we want it. There's a kind of deep satisfaction. There's a kind of sense of having found what we're looking for. We're content, we're happy, we know what we want, we know where we're going. But with this card here in reverse, I'm getting a complete opposite feeling of we really have no no joy, very little happiness here. And maybe there's also a feeling of kind of being very alone as well in this card. And also that relationships for a long time now have been this kind of hit and miss type of energy. Nobody really seems to be able to find their happiness. And maybe that's also because we're all kind of trying to find it without, in this very physical world, rather than looking within first and being happy as the person that we are, rather than constantly maybe trying to change ourselves or conform to somebody, trying to kind of make other people happy first before we kind of focus on our own needs and our own happiness. Because it's also come out with the sun god here, but the sun god has come out the right way up, Apollo, which is a kind of sense for me of a clarity and an understanding, a kind of a light. Again, I get the sense of kind of this light shining, an illumination, an understanding. And with this here as well, I always see the archway as a kind of new future, in the sense of walking through. It's like walking through a gateway. You kind of going from one space into another space. And so this sun kind of depicts that energy for me. But I also get the feeling of sense that there is also this kind of, again, there's this yearning, if you like, or this wanting something more than what we have. Wanting this kind of understanding of ourselves, I feel, on some level. Because the sun is all about kind of heat and radiance and warmth and growth and all those things that we can't survive without. We need the sun. Although we can also overdo the sun as well. The sun can kind of overdo its energy. But we need that warmth, we need that. Maybe that's also what this card here is saying as well, that there's a lot of that missing in our lives. And this new moon is kind of telling us to sit back, because we're so busy rushing into everything and kind of wanting to experience all these different experiences, and maybe even jumping from one relationship to another, like this card does. This messenger of fire has that energy of kind of jumping, leaping from, you know, one relationship finishes or doesn't work out, they'll go straight into another one to kind of heal or forget the last situation. It's in reverse, as I said earlier. It's kind of gives me that kind of feeling that this is a energy of and this is at the heart of the reading today. I'm just getting the feeling of kind of not taking responsibility as well for actions. Just kind of, yeah, moving on very quickly. Moving on, let's move on. Let's kind of like, don't look back. Let's just kind of keep going. Let's just don't, yeah, because she's actually looking back over her shoulder here, but it's upside down, so there is this sense also of kind of not looking back, not wanting to. And with this card here as well, in reverse, the Four of Swords is all about kind of meditation and contemplation and kind of really thinking things through before you take any action. Kind of reminds me at the moment of the Mercury retrograde energy itself, in the sense that Mercury in retrograde at the moment is all about slowing down. Like I was saying, it's kind of our logical thinking mind being kind of taken offline at this moment in time. This is saying that we could do more damage than good at this moment if we try to resolve things, or we try to rush into anything, or we try to kind of make things happen the way we want them to happen, rather than allowing the bigger picture to kind of come out of this. And we also have this Eight of Wands as well, which usually depicts to me a kind of sense of going with the flow and just kind of enjoying the journey. And the dolphins kind of depict a sense of playfulness, joyfulness, that kind of just enjoying, really. Enjoyment from the littlest things, like the dolphins are really loving the kind of spray from the boat and the diving through the waves and just making the most of it while they can. But because it's upside down, I also get the sense that this is about us losing that ability, that everything's really hard, the things aren't, with this new moon at this moment in time, with all the sensitivity around and all the kind of things that are emotionally also coming up for us, that moving forward is very difficult. And maybe at this moment in time we're not supposed to be moving forward quite so quickly. We need to think things through. We have the Ten of Water in the energy that's been around for a while but is moving away. Again, it's in reverse, and we have it here in reverse as well. So I do get this sense of like there's just not a lot of happiness, yeah, kind of going with the flow as well. If it's upside, when it's up the right way, you can see the kind of this waterfall here, which is kind of going around this Buddha that's kind of, or this Chinese laughing god as it actually is. And he's kind of, I feel blocking. There's a blocking here. We're kind of blocking our emotional happiness ourselves. We're not going with that flow, which is also what this is saying to me here as well. We're not allowing ourselves to kind of follow that. Almost like we, like said in the Pisces reading, that we're kind of, you know, we have to kind of get out of our own way somehow. At this moment in time, we need to kind of remove the ego and allow the kind of bigger picture, the Piscean energy of kind of acceptance and surrender and allowing. But we find that really difficult because our kind of need is to make things happen. We want to make things happen. We want to be the one that kind of resolves things or gets things happening, or but sometimes we actually can make more problems than we can actually solve. And you also have this Nine of Wands here as well, which again is this boat here, which has kind of come up against this rock. It's kind of reached this stage, whereas it's kind of, yeah, both in reverse. So I feel that this is like, you know, when you kind of get to that stage of wanting to try and force a situation, making things happen. This is where we end up. We end up in this situation of bashing ourselves off the rock and becoming battered and exhausted and kind of just really worn out. And it's like, this is the future that we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to this future with calmer, more serene waters. We can see it, it's really close, but there's still something that's keeping us held back. And I feel, because there's all this here, that it's all about the emotions rather than the fact that this is, I know it's a fire card and it's all about the kind of creative drive, which it is, but it's also for me very kind of emotionally orientated with all this water, which is kind of churning and kind of dragging us back, which I feel again is this Piscean energy of kind of healing those wounds, surrender, let it go, whatever it was that was keeping you. And for some reason this kind of, this circle bit here today has kind of jumped out at me in a very similar kind of way to this down here as well. We're kind of a light connection. I don't know what that's about as such. Energy, something to do with energy, allowing the energy to flow from within. Because this card can also depict somebody who feels, or situations, and this is a collective reading as well, so it's a kind of energy of feeling like we move forward and then we get pulled or dragged back again. And we've all got these wounds, we've all got these pains, we've all got experiences from our childhood, from our past, which are kind of still affecting us and still bringing us back to those places, which is why all this kind of experience here keeps returning and triggering things deep within us. And all these cards came out together, so I'm going to read them all together. The Emperor card, also in reverse, this kind of represents a powerful energy. In Greek mythology, it actually represents Zeus or Jupiter. And Jupiter is playing quite a large part in things at the moment. Jupiter is sextiling over to Neptune. Expansion, but it's in reverse as well, so it's kind of saying to me, like, because he's got this world in his hand here, it's kind of saying that this powerful energy that we have is not being used in a very productive way. It's kind of causing us more problems. We're not kind of using it to resolve our inner world, if you like, our inner situation, our kind of more emotional kind of wounds and feelings, and the because this can also denote the father figure as well, so it could also have something to do with this whole patriarchal energy that we're kind of battling a lot at the moment as well, with all this kind of stuff that's going on in the outside world of genderism and the Me Too movement and all this kind of stuff. It's all very connected to the masculine, and this is also a very patriarchal card as well. Apollo sun energy is always seen as very masculine, driving energy. So this could also have a part to play in that as well. The father energy, bringing up possibly a lot of stuff for people during this Piscean full moon, or sorry, new moon, should I say, Piscean new moon. Because we do have this card here as well, the Ace of Swords, which is an energy, a new energy that's coming in, because it's an ace. It's an energy that is to do with the kind of logical thinking brain, but of course this is the energy that is also moving away as well. And it's also come out with this Knight of Cups. Which is a very kind of Piscean energy for me. Water energy. It relates to the Pisces, Scorpio, Cancerian energies. It is kind of looking for that idyllic relationship, that kind of, which we started off with here as well, this kind of idyllic perfect love, which is kind of depicted in this card as well. Searching. And maybe that is also coming up a lot during this Piscean new moon as well, with the Venus energy in Aries, Mars in Capricorn. There's a strong independence with both of those energies. Mars wants to be independent, and Mars represents the masculine energy as well. But at this moment in time in Capricorn, he wants to be independent. He wants to find his own stability. He wants to kind of find his own way, go his own way. And Venus, which could also be represented by this energy here, is also feeling very strong and kind of quite like the battle maiden, really. Being in Mars, or being in Aries, which is ruled by Mars, of course. Venus is taking on this kind of energy of battling whatever doesn't what's the word I'm looking for, value her or respect her. Venus, of course, being the female energy. So there is kind of this battle that's going on between Venus and Mars at this moment in time. I'm just trying to work something out. They have actually already squared off, Venus and Mars. They had a square earlier on in the month. So there is this kind of separating kind of energies at the moment as well. So that could also have something to do with this full moon, could call it full moon, new moon in Pisces, this energy of going our own way, both the masculine and the feminine, looking for things or looking at things differently and not coming together. Which is causing a lot of upset and grief, in the sense of there's not a lot of kind of teamwork or working together here. Not a lot of going with that flow, I feel. And the energies that we have moving in, it looks like it's going to be quite a long reading. It's already over an hour, so I'm going to try and speed up a little bit. The Six of Fire in reverse. And for me, the Six of Fire usually talks about kind of lifting of something. It's a balloon, it's kind of rising above things. But here it kind of feels a bit deflated because it's in reverse. I get the sense of it kind of just falling back to earth, maybe. This sense of things not rising above to see the bigger picture, almost like just being caught up in the details. Seeing the smaller picture, just seeing the finer details. And the devil is in the details, as they say. But there's a sense here of not being able to rise above in order to be able to make sense of something as well. Six of Fire normally depicts a victory, a sense of elevation, a sense of kind of, victorious, being seen, being recognized. But I get more a sense with this card, with this new moon, that it's more a sense of kind of feeling I just get this feeling of kind of deflated and kind of let down and not feeling very victorious at all. And it has come out with the Temperance card. And the Temperance card is all about kind of relationships. And again, this kind of speaks to me of this lack of flow, lack of communication, lack of like keeping everything inside at this moment in time. And also, it can also be about patience. But in this card, because it's reversed, it's kind of saying to me that there isn't a lot of patience going on here. There isn't a lot of understanding between people within relationships. So I feel again this kind of triggering energy, something triggering something which kind of responds deep within, but it's being kind of projected outwards rather than being seen as kind of ourselves. It's kind of projected onto the other person, causing this kind of lack of kind of communication and flow backwards and forwards. To me, this kind of cup, the silver cup and the gold cup, represents the masculine and the feminine. It could even represent the sun and the moon at the moment with a conjunction that's happening as well. Moon being kind of emotional, feminine energy, and the sun being the more kind of active, masculine energy. But there's a kind of feeling here for me of something that's kind of blocking things. Things aren't kind of being, or things aren't flowing at this moment in time. There's a sense with this new moon that things are needing to be brought out into the open as well, with this rainbow. Because a rainbow can only exist within kind of like when there's both sunshine and the rain. So it's kind of saying to me that, you know, sometimes there has to be both. Sometimes we have to have those situations where the rain, which kind of like depicts, you know, things not being so great, because most of us do not like the rain. And moan about the rain all the time. But in order to have a rainbow, you have to have both. You have to have the rain and you have to have the sun. So maybe that's what this is saying reversed as well, that we can't just always have the good times. Like, you know, we have to also go through some serious times, some more critical times, to kind of see how we deal with them and whether or not we can actually rise above these situations, or whether we allow them to kind of defeat us before we even kind of set out as well. It could also be what this is about. Is how easily are we going to let these energies defeat us, or these situations. And so where we're at this present moment in time is the Ace of Cups, or the Ace of Water. Again, it's in reverse, so I just get the feeling very strongly that there's not a lot of sense of self-love, because the Ace of Water is a new energy, and when it's in reverse, it's kind of saying that there isn't enough self-love, because when it's up the right way, usually it depicts a cup, and the cup being filled up. And when it's in reverse, it's like everything that was in the cup is kind of not filling up. It's all just kind of falling out of the cup. But interestingly for me today, I noticed for the first time there's this tiny, tiny, tiny picture on this pearl. And the pearl kind of represents the inner person for me. It kind of represents the how life kind of molds us and shapes us and kind of turns us into who we are, our personalities, and how we have responded to situations in our life, as to also how much self-love we're willing to give ourselves as well. And that in order to be able to love somebody else, we have to love ourselves first. And if we can't do that, then we won't have enough to give to somebody else. So this card can sometimes kind of depict a need to be like selfish, in that sense of like, you know, you have to kind of sometimes put yourself first. Otherwise you will end up depleting all of your emotional energy, and that will kind of that will have a knock-on effect with everything else. But today, as I was saying, this pearl here, it's got this tiny, 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 it's like a horse. It's really hard to see. It's almost like it's tattooed on there, or it's kind of, it's like this horse that is being, it looks like a war horse somehow, a horse that's being ridden. And when I saw it, I kind of thought to myself, that is how this seahorse wants to view itself, or wants to be. This is how kind of it sees itself as this kind of war horse, this is what's in its kind of imagination, if you like, that when it grows up, it wants to become this. But it's always going to kind of be this seahorse. And it has to accept that this is what it is. It's never going to become this. It can't become this because it's a seahorse. So it has to kind of love itself as a seahorse rather than trying to change itself into being something else. It can't do that. Not physically. So as long as it's happy with the idea of it being this, but the actual reality being something different, then it can love itself the way it is. But if it is unhappy because it's not this horse as such, like a real horse, then it's always going to be unhappy and it won't love itself. And it will always kind of find reasons not to love itself. And so this Ace of Water came out with the Three of Swords, which is all about a situation of pain and the things that we are needing to leave behind at the moment, as I was talking about earlier. This kind of real sense of somebody, well, not just somebody, but this real sense of, for me today, it's all about this individual here, kind of, which I think is our inner wounded self, and all the times that we've been kind of stabbed in the heart by different situations, which is also today talking to me about the reasons why we stop ourselves from loving ourselves, because maybe we aren't, or maybe we didn't live up to being who somebody else thought we should be, or the way that we should have acted, or they had their own ideas of how we should be, and it caused heartache and problems and arguments. And so again, this doesn't have to be in a relationship. This can also be family situations, friends situations, business situations, personal relationships as well. But ultimately it is all about us. It's kind of us in this coffin bath thing, whatever you like to call it. But there is a kind of cathartic message with this card as well, because it's kind of saying this is the popping of the bubble, if you like, of how like a bit like with this seahorse here, it's kind of he needs to realize that he's never going to be anything else but a seahorse. And it's a similar kind of situation here, in the sense that we have to realize that the reality that we thought we had, or the emotional situations that led up to us being hurt, kind of have helped us to see through how things actually were, rather than what we necessarily saw or wanted to believe. And so we also have the Eight of Pentacles, and this card for me is all about mastery and working on ourselves. And again, each one of these situations, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I kind of see all of these pentacles down here as experiences that we've tried in the past and that didn't necessarily work out. Situations can be businesses, it can be family, again, it can have a multitude of different things that we've tried, and maybe they weren't right for us. But here it kind of finds us back at the table, and I just feel today with this Pisces new moon, this is about us working on ourselves and our mastery, particularly with all this Capricorn energy as well. Saturn and Pluto, Jupiter and Mars all together in Capricorn, all in this very earthy, down to earth energy here. and kind of really helping to support this energy here, which I feel is kind of more the Neptune energy. But we do also have this star that has come out as well, so there is this kind of healing energy, but it's not up the right way. It is in reverse. There is this sense of something that isn't kind of allowing the healing to take place. All of this for me also represents all of these situations here, and also all of the things that we need to let go of at the moment in order for this healing to be able to take place. Again, this kind of represents for me that the energy of my brain has gone completely dead. I want to call it clarico, but I know that's the wrong word, so I'm going to say cariclo. And the energy of that star, of cariclo, of holding a divine space within ourselves in order for that healing to take place, which is what I think this is about as well. This healing that needs to take place, and for us to kind of find ourselves and be our own masters of our own destiny. But this kind of star energy here is saying to me that we're not quite at that place yet. We still haven't quite reached that energy as of yet. And because this is a card of Aquarius as well, I kind of get the feeling that this could also have something to do with the Aquarian energy that will be moving in. Like I said, Saturn will be moving into Aquarius in March, which isn't that long far away. So I think within the next 2 weeks it could well be moving into Aquarius. And this is Aquarius kind of healing energy. And then we have the placement of where we are all at this moment in time, or it's usually how other people depict the situation. So I kind of say with this collective reading that it's about how we all kind of see each other at this moment in time, and at this moment in time we are all seeing that we need to heal this wounded child, because if you look carefully in the water here, there is this child. The Six of Cups is there's a kind of, she's like, there's this yearning, there's this pain, there's this kind of understanding of, or this kind of realization of this pain. It's almost like waking up to this pain. It's almost kind of like realizing that she needs to heal that pain. She needs to kind of look at it, and instead of just keeping it buried, which is what this card to me is saying in reverse, is that there's a lot of that out there. There's a lot of us that are holding this within. We're carrying it around with us. We're kind of all guilty on some level of that kind of belief, shall we say, that we can deal with it, that it's fine, that we can just kind of let it be, or just ignore it, or, you know, it was so long ago that it doesn't affect me anymore type of belief. I'm not affected by it any longer. And we have the Knight of Swords come out with this, one of the few cards that's actually upright. There's a heck of a lot of reverse cards in this reading, which is saying to me, all reverse cards kind of say to me that there's an energy that's been around for a long while, and it's kind of saying that we need to really focus and face up to this energy. And until we do, we will kind of keep repeating it. But the Knight of Swords here I'm getting the feeling, because it's a night, it's usually about kind of I think of the knights and what they do, the kind of energy of, like, most people see them as messengers. I don't necessarily always see them as messengers. I kind of see them more as protectors in a way. The knights were kind of the protectors of the realm. They protected the king, they protected the queen. And I get the feeling that this is what this is about here, that this energy here, which is very fast moving, but very kind of warlike in a way, very kind of ready for battle energy. It's similar to this Ace of Swords energy here, similar energy, like ready for battle, ready for anything that's coming our way type of energy. And so I feel on some level that this is kind of protecting. This is how we kind of protect this. This is all the mental realm, the kind of logical, again, the swords, the thinking, the day-to-day way that we deal with life. It represents the energies of Gemini, which this literally is Gemini because it's the twins, but it can also relate to Libra and also Aquarius. Less so Aquarius, I feel. It can relate to Libra, I feel, on some level, because it has this kind of duality about it. But it is actually the twins. It is the Dioscuri twins in the Greek mythic tarot deck. And I feel that this is, like I was saying, that this is protecting. This is how we protect our inner child and our pain and our wounds and the things that we don't want to look at. And this is kind of us saying, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't look there. Don't. You know, it's like, let's just move on. Let's just quickly ignore that and just move on to something else. Because that's what this knight is all about. It's about fast moving action. When things happen, they happen quickly with this knight. But that's what I think it's saying today, that there is this kind of sense of protection. And again here, with this queen as well, I feel kind of the same energy, this protecting energy. It's kind of like, don't go there. I am sitting here on my throne. I'm pouring away my emotions here because I've been hurt in the past. I'm not ready or willing to go and look at them. And I'm going to sit here on this throne and I'm not going to let you past. That's how I feel. That's, yeah, what I'm kind of seeing with these cards here today. I'm not going to, yeah, it's kind of like a blockage. It's kind of like a don't go there. Don't look in that place. Don't bring it to the surface. Don't. And I'm not saying that that's what should be. I'm not saying don't do that. What I'm saying is that this is how we respond to our pain and our hurt and our wounds. We kind of quickly kind of try to move on from them and just ignore them. And this queen here is sitting here as a kind of protection, as a kind of like yeah, with this kind of jug pouring that out onto the barren soil. It really is this sense of I am not ready to talk about this. I really do not want to have to look there. I don't want to go there. Even though she knows that there needs to be lots of heartfelt conversations here, because the heart chakra colour of this, like the heart and the throat chakra, sorry, the two together, kind of making up this turquoise chakra, the thymus chakra, which is kind of developed to do with communication, to do with heartfelt communication, getting things off your chest, literally, kind of energy. But today I'm just seeing her very much as kind of, again, this protectress, this kind of like, you've got to get past me first. You've got to get past me. Bit of an ice queen as well. The Queen of Swords. She can be very cold, very calculating, very kind of cutting through things. Very highly intelligent, highly intellectual, very logical, very thinking, and uses that ability to kind of sidestep things as well, in the sense of kind of, how can I put it, of kind of making you feel that your emotions, shall we say, are not as relevant as what's in her head. That it's all about the logic, it's all about the mind. And so it's kind of, I feel that it's kind of a guard in a way. There's a kind of guardedness there. And then we have our hopes and our fears. And we have the Star in reverse, which we had, of course, down here as well, with this Star in reverse here. And this star for me, again, being Aquarian energy, it's the water of life. The healing, the process of healing, which takes time, doesn't happen immediately. But also I get the feeling, again, you know, not ready, wanting it, kind of realising that there needs to be this healing process take place. Particularly with this new moon, I feel that it's kind of bringing this up. This awareness is kind of growing that we need to heal in order to be able to move forward as kind of whole and like whole human beings as well. The sense of kind of this energy being both masculine and feminine as well. The healing of the masculine and feminine within ourselves. There's also a sense of that with this card as well today, which could also have something to do with the Chiron Venus energy that's been around. And also, as I think I might have mentioned previously as well, the Black Moon Lilith energy that's been around since the end of January and is reaching its conjunction with Chiron on the 24th, which I think is tomorrow. Lost track of time and dates. Yeah, tomorrow, because it's 23rd today, new moon, 23rd. So it could also have something to do with that energy here as well. The Chiron healing the Black Moon Lilith, which I'm going to try and do a video on that tomorrow as well, because the Black Moon Lilith energy is all about the kind of female energy that has been over the centuries made to be something evil, bad, nasty, like Black Widow like. So that's kind of, there's a healing process as well with Chiron there as well. So that's an interesting energy. It's also kind of at play at this moment in time as well, but I'm not really kind of going to go into that in this video. But I do get the feeling that that is also what this could also be about, the kind of masculine and feminine energies within all of us that are needing to be kind of recognised and healed and allowed to be whatever energy is kind of the stronger, if you like, more dominant energy. That can be the female in the male, or it can be the masculine within the feminine. It really kind of, you know, comes out in many various different forms. And I personally do believe that astrology has a lot to do with that, and past lives have got a lot to do with that as well. So there is this healing process that needs to take place at this moment in time, but it's in our hopes and fears, so we're not quite sure whether or not we can do it, really. I think that's really what it's saying, and I think this is what these two cards in our head are also saying as well. Are we able to do what we need to do? Can we really do it? And we have the Wheel of Fortune that has come out with this. And very similar energies here. If you look here, it's literally got kind of all these spokes coming out of it, and the very same kind of energy. So the Wheel of Fortune is all about us kind of moving out of one energy and into another energy. About us moving forward. And also about kind of becoming aware of the connection to all of life as well. Everything kind of has a connection, not necessarily fated as such, but that there will be certain points along this wheel that we will kind of meet situations in our life that we have to kind of deal with, like bigger situations, all depending on different ways of our reaction will depend on how the wheel kind of turns for us. But I also kind of see the wheel as also a realization that we are at the center. We need to realize that we are the ones at the center of this wheel, not just on the edge here. We are the ones that are deciding for ourselves the energy that we're putting out and what is going to happen next in our lives. Is really what this Wheel of Fortune is about, is what is going to happen next. And this star energy, I just get this really strong kind of, like with these star rays, very similar kind of feeling here, that we can take, I don't like the word control as such, but we can take responsibility, I suppose, really, for what happens to us collectively as well as what happens to us individually, by becoming more, I think I'm kind of getting this, where are we? This card here, this energy, by becoming our masters of our own destiny. By not giving our power away to anybody else. By realizing that we have these kind of abilities to heal. Because it's the things that we don't heal from that keep us in the past. That keep us living a life that's kind of disconnected, if you like. A disconnected energy, because it's like with this 9 of Wands here as well, we keep getting dragged back into the past because there's something that we haven't let go of, something that is kind of pulling us back, and this could have a lot to do with these kind of deeper wounds, things that we don't want to let go, and things that we're fearful of letting go of, because we don't know who we're going to become, of course, if we do let go of them, because we've become so attached to them. They've become such a part of who we are that we have no idea of who we will be if we should ever manage to actually let it go and move on without it. Because we kind of have become it, if you like. It's like we have accepted it as being very strongly who we are. when in fact it isn't. It's just an energy that is still kind of in play, that is still stuck within us, because it hasn't been healed, it hasn't been released, it hasn't been let go of or freed. And the last two cards that we have here is the Hangman, which is very much the Piscean card of surrender, letting things go. It is in reverse. And I get a similar feeling with this card here as well, this kind of healing process. And this need for us to kind of understand, again with this card as well, because of this thread here, which for me represents our life, literally. This thread is our kind of the thread that connects everything throughout our life, and past lives and lives that are yet to come, as we go through each life, kind of creating the past, present and future, all kind of becoming that one moment of now, which really is at the very centre of this wheel. And there's also this, if you can see it, there's this kind of thread here as well, this connection to something else, something bigger, which is kind of, for me, it's the connection to the universal energy. I kind of like to see this as a bit like the galactic centre, where we are kind of connected to all those other universes beyond, or other galaxies, universes, multiverses, however you like to call it. The kind of divine energy, the umbilical cord, which kind of attaches us to everything through this connection. And so in this card with the Hangman, I feel as though there's this kind of energy of, again, because it's in reverse, it's a kind of reluctance to allow ourselves to let go, because we don't know who we're going to become. As I was saying just a little bit previously, there is this kind of sense of, who am I going to be if I let that go? If I kind of, will I recognise myself? Will I be able to survive without that? Will other people allow me even to be who I'm going to become? Because there can also be attachments to who we have been from other people as well, because the unknown kind of has this way of causing people to try and keep people in the same place, because they don't know who you are going to be, if you like. So people have this kind of idea of who you are, and that's you kind of in their little box, and you have to stay within that little box, because if you come out of that little box, they don't know who you are. You have to remain there for them rather than necessarily for yourself. But sometimes we have to make those sacrifices. Sometimes we have to surrender to that side of ourselves that is kind of wanting to evolve, grow, become more than what we are. And I feel that that's what this card is saying here. This is about becoming more than what we are. There's almost a kind of, for me, a butterfly-esque moth type of look about this card. These feathers. But there can also be a feeling of being trapped as well, in the sense of like he can't release himself. But I feel more that this is about us not knowing who we're becoming, what we're kind of, if we let go of what has been a part of who we are for so long, what is there? What are we going to become, and it has come out with this last card here, the Page of Swords. Pages being young energy, energies that need to be kind of looked after, taken care of. There's a very inquisitive energy within the Page of Swords. There's a lot of kind of wanting to know, a lot of kind of questioning of why, how did I get here? You know, all those kind of things that young children would ask that you don't necessarily always have answers for. So lots of kind of like, see here, there's lots of puffs of air as well. But I kind of get the feeling with these two cards together that this is about us kind of seeing things through new eyes somehow. There is a kind of impish, playful energy about this as well. Swords, of course, is about truth. He's got this sword here as well. But for me today as well, there's an element of kind of something bursting. Like, you can see that the tip of his sword is kind of popping this kind of almost like a balloon type thing, like hot air, like blowing something out of proportion, or blowing something up so big that it kind of pops in your face, which can give a kind of sudden shock, a realization. Maybe this is the Aquarian energy as well. Not Aquarian, sorry, Uranus energy, Uranus energy. Uranus being the ruler of Aquarius, which is an air sign. Sudden, unexpected. Maybe that's what this is saying, that whatever is going to happen next is going to be sudden and kind of unexpected for us. Not a path that we thought we would be going down, maybe. I get a similar feeling with this card here as well for some reason. Whereas this card is kind of deflated and kind of not everything it was meant to be. I feel somehow this card is more to do with popping our own bubbles, popping our own kind of, maybe it's got something to do with our images, how we view ourselves. Bursting of our own bubbles. And this Pisces new moon. So I'm going to leave that reading there, and I will quickly show you this card as well, as crystal card which I pulled out, which is the Rutilated Quartz card, and it is all about nurturance, which I think is very relevant, because I think that's what we need to do at this moment in time, is kind of nurture ourselves. Usually I'll have sorted this already, for some reason I haven't, so bear with me 5 seconds while I just find the page and read it to you quickly. Rutilated quartz relates to the solar plexus and the crown chakra. So it's everything from here above. So from kind of the stomach area up to here. And it is nurturance. It's very orange cards that kind of relates to that kind of orange energy. Orange yellow. And it says that the colour is actually gold and clear. So maybe that's what it's meant to be, gold. I can see the gold in it, but it still has this kind of orange tinge to me. But okay, so it says you are never alone. The universe and Mother Earth are your guardians, always at your side. A guardian's responsibility is to watch over and foster those in its care. A guardian is a protector, an agent, always looking out for its ward. That's funny because that's what I was getting with this energy here. A feeling of protection. Always looking out for its ward's best interests, providing the environments and experience which you need for learning and growth, which is kind of what I've been talking about throughout this reading, how kind of triggering things until things are triggered within us, we don't kind of do anything about it. Guardian angels and other beings called guides are special emissaries from the universe that share the responsibility of helping you through each incarnation. They prepare the way and clear a path for you. The wealth that your guide provides comes in many guises. It might be financial in nature, an inheritance, a contest, jackpot, or a raise. It also takes other forms of fulfillment, romantic love, health, a happy family, a rewarding profession, friends, or peace of mind. With this universal wealth, there is no lack or emptiness. As you prosper, you live well, you do well, and you are well. You are in the fullness of well-being. In the human vehicle, the awareness of emptiness and fullness resides in the solar plexus or third chakra. The third chakra is located just above your navel near the stomach. If you are feeling hunger, your gut will tell you. But what kind of hunger is it? The physical vehicle asks, is there food and water? The emotional self asks, is there love? The soul asks, is there peace? Maybe that's also what this is about here. And also these two tens that came out as well. This kind of search for love, for that one person you can connect with. Are you currently dealing with an emotional or spiritual emptiness in your life? You may notice that along with other feelings of distress, you feel physically empty as well. The hollow feeling causes many people to eat when they are unhappy and is at the heart of eating disorders. Those who eat to feel this void feel as though they are literally going to starve to death. On a conscious level, they may not understand the reason they are driven to eat. It is not self-indulgence or weakness of character. It is an act of survival. It is the womb most of you had no concern about. In the womb, most of you had no concern about your well-being. Your mother provided your nourishment for you. Her body was your safe harbour. The last time you may have felt real security might have been in the womb. Once out of the world, physically separated from your provider, you doubted whether your meals would appear when you needed them. Perhaps someone else's bodily demands would dictate when you would be fed. This anxiety carried over into childhood and later into adulthood, where it mutated into generalized feelings of uncertainty about whether your needs would be met. Now, when you are hungry, you experience unconscious anxiety similar to the kind you had as a baby, even though in a full stomach is as close as the next fast food restaurant. Your concern lies much deeper. The nourishment you need most does not come from physical food. What you crave is manna from heaven. The caregiving that outpours from the universe to you, cosmic TLC, once you are filled with the nurturance that the universe provides, there will be no gnawing in your belly. Knowing you are cared for and cared about will quiet the hunger pains. Why have you drawn our card today? Do you have concerns about your well-being? Do you wonder if it will be okay? Many of you feel adrift without any real support. Most of you are wishing that someone would say, everything will be all right. The universe can be that loving friend. So that's interesting because it kind of relates to the wound within us in a way, and what we're kind of having to look at and deal with that we may not want to. And we also have this Namaste blessing card as well to finish this Leo read on, and this is also about the Divine Mother as well. And it says, so I'm just going to take my glasses off because it's really difficult to read with them on. A previously closed door now opens. This is a blessed and fortunate time for you, but be mindful, humble and grounded. Feel your connection to the earth, feel her energy and love in your heart, and know that you are eternally blessed by the Divine Mother. Sorry, I'll just show you this picture again. And the writing on the back, the Namaste blessing itself. So those are the messages for the reading for the Pisces new moon at this moment in time. I'm just going to say thank you very much to anybody who's subscribed to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please could you do so, because I am trying to grow my channel. I will be putting more videos out. I also do all the zodiac signs as well. I will also try and put out a video tomorrow about Black Moon Lilith, or maybe the day after, depending on how long it takes for this video to upload and if it will upload. And I'm quickly going to have to say goodbye because my time is running out here. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, tap the bell, and hopefully I will see you all soon. Take care.